Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm your host once again. It's the Super Ninja Austin, and the latest episode of the SNA podcast, episode 58. And this is the review where we're gonna analyze on the latest edition of the AEW Dynamite, which is gonna be AEW Dynamite review part 8. Let's begin. Okay, we'll start off with. Let's see. Sorry for taking so long. I just need to hurry up and do this real fast. Okay. Okay, we can start off with recaps, like with the likes of matches. Like we have Swerve Strickland taking on Hangman Adam Page. He won. Swerve Strickland won that match. We have Bryan Danielson beating Zack Sabre Jr. via knockout. We had FTR overcoming Aussie Opens into their rubber match, I believe, which is that was at Wrestle Dreams. And we also have Chris Statlander retaining her TBS championship and ending the streak of the undefeated streak of Julia Hart. Like when she continuing that reign is defeating every undefeated streak that every women's wrestler have from in this year in 2023. We have MJF successfully retaining both the AEW women's. The AEW World Heavyweight, not AEW World, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. My mistake. All by himself against the Righteous, and they still haven't found out about who's the masked man's frame, the devil masked man who's framing MJF, unfortunately. But we have the main event, Darby Allin taking on Christian Cage we also had Wheeler Yuta defeating, I believe, Ricky Starks. Was it Ricky Starks defeating Yuta? I forget, but anyways. But yeah, we have Claudio Castagnoli against Josh Barnett. He won that match, and then we got Darby Allin taking on the TNT champion Christian Cage, which he successfully defended by doing a cheap shot, and then he had Nick Wayne, and he finally manipulated Nick Wayne, and he took him under his wing, and then they both outnumbered Allin and Sting. Both Christian, Nick, and Luchasaurus. This is where we've seen the surprisingly but also predictable debut of Adam Copeland for an AEW. And that's where he looked like he was about to join them, but he really fought both Wayne and Luchasaurus off. But that was the recap of AEW AEW Wrestle Dreams. And then we're going to talk about what's next. We got live in Stockton, California. This is where we start off with a backstage interview with Ocho, Chris Jericho, and the Cleaner Kenny Omega. We also had the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, and Jericho unfortunately losing to Sammy Guevara, Konosuke Takeshita, and Will Ospreay. But anyway, this is where she asked him like how it feels to be 4 years under y'all's belts, and for AEW Dynamite being on a weekly basis on a cable televised cable channel. And then Jericho's like, yeah, that's right. It's been 4 years. 4 years since AEW Dynamite has existed in in cable television. And then he's like, in the main event, it was me with my former group taking on Kenny Omega and his group in the 6-man tag team match. Do you think that's when we seen Omega and Jericho on the opposite side, and this will be also Jericho's 33rd year anniversary of him debuting in professional wrestling, and Omega and Jericho is aligned with one another to take out the Don Callis family. And then he also said tonight, and then this is where he's like, that's why I call a 4-year celebration. And then this is when the former Edge, the rated R superstar Adam Copeland, came into the backstage studio or interview studio. This is where he looked face to face to an old Canadian friend, which is Chris Jericho. This is where Edge was grinning like Renee. It's good. It's so great to see you again, but in a different company, of course. But anyway, this is where he's like, and he's like, I just couldn't help but notice when there's all this Canadian with everybody in the room was considerably Canadian, I should say. Like both Renee Paquette, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Adam Copeland, the former Edge, and this is where Edge, or the former Edge, aka Adam Copeland, also stated, whatever you name it, I'm here. He's like, and you, Chris Jericho, it's always great to see you, man. And then he's like, it's great to see you again. And he's like, and you, Kenny, like, and this is where Kenny Omega was like, it's great to meet you because I always wanted to have a match with you, and it looks like that might be the case in the next upcoming weeks or months of build of Edge's debut, or not Edge. I'm getting used to calling him Edge, more like Adam Copeland now. Adam Copeland being in AEW, and we could possibly see this maybe more in a pay-per-view worthy match, because this match is too big to be just any random episode of a Dynamite or a Rampage or a Collision. I would say at least a Full Gear pay-per-view or a Revolution, like just to have a dream match, like plenty of them, which there's gonna be plenty more into the rated R superstars of Tank. And this is where Kenny Omega also, but anyway, this is where Kenny Omega also said, I gotta say it, the other night, you had me at the edge of my seat. And I was like, really, Kenny? Like, did you really have to make an Edge reference an Edge reference pun into this promo? And then this is where Kenny Omega said, any future that we have go forward when we cross paths, I just want to give you my respect to you, Mr. Copeland. And this is where Adam shook his hand, he's like, great to meet you too, man. Like, I've been watching you from afar. And this is where he's like, and then he's like, he's like, well, tonight I'm gonna have my mission statement. In the meantime, he's like, please, please be the Don Callis family. Like, this is where Adam Copeland was like, I'm later on at the end of the night, I'm gonna state my mission, but in the meantime, you guys better beat the Don Callis family, because I cannot stand Don Callis, which I believe he probably does, because he probably got that's that word. I bet he got burned by Don Callis before in his days as a independent wrestler, probably, or in his days in like when he was wrestling in Canada, of course, yeah. And then this was 4 years, baby, of Dynamite before he stormed out of I won't say stormed out, I was like before he zoomed out of there, with all the enthusiasm of being in AEW. But anyway, this is where Jericho was like, how come you never say it's great to see me? And then this is where Renee Paquette's like, it's always great to see you, but this is just there's a once in a lifetime. Like I see see guys like Adam Copeland, but I wouldn't say once in a lifetime. I'd say it was great to see Adam Copeland because this is the first time I've seen him up close in like probably over 3 years since she left WWE, of course. And this is where Jericho was like, "Don't give me that," and he starts smiling with a joking glare. Up next, we got a NXT, not NXT, AEW International Championship, which was the reigning champ, Ray Phoenix, taking on the one half of the Young Bucks, which is Nick Jackson, the younger Jackson of the Young Bucks. And man, this was a really entertaining match. Nick Jackson showed like why he's the best, not only in the tag team division but in the singles division. And whenever he wins a singles championship, whether it be in a mid card or a world championship, it'll be way past due, basically. Like to see him finally get the big one or at least solo run as champion. But anyways, and when they fought back and forth, like with headlocks, throwing each other, like doing ducks, leapfrog, looking like they're in the independent scene again, and then doing some arm drags and some what's called stretches, abdominal stretches, and some high flying crossbody moves, and this is where Nick Jackson hits a sidewalk slam and bending Ray Phoenix's back, and starts squeezing it to death. This is where he put him right down on the ground. This is where he was thinking of another move to do to the reigning champ. This is where he stomps Ray Phoenix right into the back. This is where he starts stomping and kicking Ray Phoenix. This is where he starts readjusting his boots so he can have a better force into the kicks. And then let's see right here. This is where we see a super kick from Nick Jackson. This is where Ray Phoenix hits a rolling front flip, or somersault, not somersault, but I'll say a rolling flip Hurricane Rana. That's what it was. A rolling flip Hurricane Rana right onto Nick Jackson. This is where he tried to go for a 1 and a 2 and a 2.99999. I was like, wow, like he almost had him right there, and then. That's where he hit the super kick as soon as Nick Jackson got back up. This is where they were hanging on right onto the ropes. This is where Ray Phoenix tried to get back up. He went on the outside. This is where he tried to go for a rolling cutter right through the concrete floor, which is the second most devastating part of the ringside area. And then this is where you try to go for the most devastating and I'll say not mostly devastating, more like the most amazing move in all of sports entertainment, perfectly amazingly move. This is where he hits which is the rolling cutter, but Nick Jackson intercepts and hit a cutter on his own. Like as soon as Ray Phoenix rolled up and tried to hit a cutter, but he intercepted and hit a cutter on his own, right face first. Right into the concrete floor. Both men were down, like flat back first. This is where the referee started his 10 count, like with a 1 and a. This is where Matt Jackson's like, "Little bro, come on, get both of y'all back in the ring so y'all can win this match. I mean, so you can win this match and become the new champion." This is where he finally did so. This is where Ray Phoenix tried to go for some kind of like a pile driver or some draping DDT maneuver, but Nick Jackson countered or more likely maintain his offense by ramming his shoulder right into Ray Phoenix's midsection. This is where he hits a springboard face buster right on to the side of the ring canvas. This is where he pins Ray Phoenix. This is where the referee counts 1, 2, and kicks out. And Ray Phoenix kicks out at 2.8 seconds. Nick Jackson was like, "What do I need to do to put away this man?" And then this is where he got him went on his right arm, pulling it. And this is where Nick Jackson was like being the elite, I believe, which And this is where fans start chanting Maxwell Freeman. It's where when he said being the elite, that's when he mocked Ray Phoenix started doing like Mesa and his brother Penta El Zio Miedo. And this is where fans start repeatedly saying that. This is where Ray Phoenix. This is where Ray Phoenix got back up. Was like, no, not today. Like, he got back up so easily. This is where he chops Ray Phoenix right on his chest. This is where he tried to go for a flying top rope arm drag move, Majig. This is where he tried to go for a roundhouse kick, but it's where he landed on the sharp part of his mask, and he started limping and start kind of whining agony with him hurting his shin in the process of trying to do a roundhouse kick. This is where he try to go for a top rope arm drag, move Majig, but this is where Ray Phoenix pushed him right through the top rope and then hit where it hurts the most at. And this is where Ray Phoenix hit the chop right onto Nick Jackson's chest. That possibly would have made Gunther even more angry and envious onto the international championship. And they'll probably will have some kind of an international intercontinental championship match. Probably, if only if WWE could have a partnership with AEW, I would not mind. But that's probably not going to happen at least anytime soon. But yeah, this is where Ray Phoenix goes right onto the top rope with where he went on the top rope with Nick Jackson. This is where he tried to hit a maneuver on a top rope maneuver like a Hurricane Rana or Spanish Fly, but I think this is where Nick Jackson intercepts and hit him with a top rope cutter, looking like if it's a top rope RKO, looking like the second most devastating move in all sports. Or the most devastating letters in all sports entertainment, second most devastating in all sports game next to the RKO. And this is where he tried to go. This is where he tried to go for the pin, but the referee counted one, the referee counted two, and how could you not that Ray Phoenix kicks out right before 0.3 seconds before he even had a chance to count to three. This is where Nick Jackson hits a most devastating and perfect reverse Frankensteiner right onto to Ray Phoenix. This is where he tried to go for a flying monkey flip, but this is where Ray Phoenix dipped him into a spine buster position. Dipped him right on the back of Nick Jackson. This is where Nick Jackson counters into the Canadian Destroyer, landing head first right into the current AEW International Champion. This is where he tried to go for a 1 and a 2, but he kicks out at 2.99999. Once again, this is where he hits him with a side swipe knee strike kick. This is where he tried to go for another one because Ray Phoenix got back up. This is where Nick Jackson does it again, but he still keep getting up. This is where he finally hit him the last time. This is where he picks him back up. This is where he tried to go for the BTE. He's like BTE, and he knee striked him. It looked like that would have been it. If no one didn't expected the Ray Phoenix to win. This is where it looks absolutely believable because when he pinned him, this is where referee hit 1, the referee counted 2, and then he kicks out again with the 2.99999. 0-1 away from 3. And then this is where let's see right here. Is where Ray Phoenix, I believe, tried to go for another BTE. This is where he tried to go for the Lucha Driver. This is where This is where Nick Jackson rolled him up in the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, which is the surprise roll up. But Ray Phoenix did a much better, most devastating move in all sports entertainment because he slid him back up, and then the referee counted to 1, 2, and 3. Still the NXT. Obviously, we keep calling it the NXT, trying to call it the North American, but it's the AEW International Champion. Which that was a well fought match. Like of both men were taking a series of becoming the international title of AEW, and then I'll say, but yeah, like I said earlier, that would be a dream match with Ray Phoenix taking on Gunther in an international championships match with their respective titles that represents all over the globe in all countries. But here's where they raise his hand with Alex Actor Hentes and Penta LZ O'Meal. This is where we cut off to Adam Cole in a video with him being in Roddy's house, and then he was trying to do a promo video about the matter. This is where Roddy asked him to come back in, shouting Adam again, like Adam. This is where he helped. The physical therapy facility at the physical therapy place, not his house. My bad. But yeah, this is where they're trying to rehabilitate and get therapy on Adam Cole's ankle and Roderick Strong's neck, and then they're doing a lot of stuff on their doing the wheelchair racing, and then in wheelchair and scooter racing they were. Which I would say they're doing lots of fun stuff while they're getting therapy, and then this is where Adam Cole's like, you said there was an emergency. Well, what's the emergency? This is where Rod Stark's like, like what his explanation was. He's like, I need you to get some furniture. That's what he said. The furniture, I need some ankle surgery. Like, can the Kingdom do it? Like. And this is when Roger Strong's like, yeah, but you could. Like, no one can do it like you. And this is when Matt Taven's like, and besides. And he was like, when's the last time you ever did this with Roddy? And this was like, it's okay, guys. Like he can do this. Like I know you can do this. Like you're my best friend, right, Adam? This is where Adam Cole was taking it back. He's like, and hesitating. This is where Adam Cole's like, I think I'm gonna regret this. This is where and then this is where he starts having second thoughts. This is when he just did screw it. This is where he pushed the rack, pushed the rack on the side, and he started lifting the sofa without his scooter and his crutches, with both feet onto the ground, lifting it up, and he's screaming in agony, which we can't hear because it was like in slow motion mode, and it had the music in the background, silent his screams of agonizing pain because he started lifting up because that doesn't feel good when you're. And then this is where he started back. This is where he started lifting up. This is where he started putting stuff on tables and racks. This is where he lifts up the. This is where he lifts up the same table. This is where he. Let's see right here. And then Adam Cole did it with one arm. This is where Adam Cole was like, really? Like, I just got sure these guys are my friends, including Roddy, or Jesus using me. And then this is where Adam Cole's like, how did I did? And this is where Roddy Strong's like, you did awesome, man. Like I like this, I loved it. And he's like, glad I can help. And that's Adam Cole said. And I even the surgery on his ankle and ASAP. And he's like, it's great to see you. This is where Roddy Strong's like, and he's like, Adam Cole, like, you can't just go to surgery. I still need your help. Like, and this is when Adam Cole's like, really? Like, at this rate, I'll never get a. And this is when Excalibur was noticing this. He's just using him for favors. And he was like, he's just preying on his friendship by asking him so much favor, which is not sure if it's necessary. And this is where Griff Garrison was in a match, and it was against the returning Wardlow. And I was like, man, when the last time we saw Griff Garrison? And I thought he probably left AEW just like Brian Pillman Jr. Like because he was in vignettes lately in NXT, which I probably forgot to recap that. Like he started looking at everything like what his father did before he got in wrestling. Like when he was in football as on the Cincinnati Bengals, which is a team I do not like at all. But even though that was before the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Barrow, the wannabe Macaulay Culkin, but that's story for another day. But anyways, this is where Brian Pillman Jr. saw his father, Brian Pillman, and then he saw and he was in WCW as the Hollywood Blondes, I believe, and this time in the mid 90s or late 90s in the Attitude Era and the Golden Era. This is where they start showing them watching the likes of Shawn Flair and Randy Orton in the Judgment Day, and looking at everything WWE, and he looks like going in a new venture and following in his father's footsteps of joining the World Wrestling Entertainment Company. But it's like Wardlow's not happy because it lasts less than probably 2 minutes, like with him fighting Griff Garrison. It was like if you left to go take a bathroom break, like this match will probably be over before you even head out. Because they did a quick introduction. This is where he started the match. This is where he continued to spear Griff Garrison right into the bottom right corner of Tina the turnbuckle. He's branding him right there. His referee was doing this 5-second DQ warning. He was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, come on, like settle down, Wardlow. Like, do this in a reasonable manner. It was when the fans are chanting Wardlow like if he was Goldberg. Like Wardlow, and then this is where he hits him with the Powerbomb Symphony, and then this is where he repeatedly picks him back up and hits another Powerbomb Symphony, and this is where he pins him, and he got the 1, 2, 3, and then he ran out of the arena in the different exit into the audience. Like when he flipped over jumped over the barricade and then headed back to his locker room into the back way where the audience was at, like in the audience entrance. And I was like, wow, like that was the quick match. Like that was the most quickest match I ever seen in AEW. Like even quicker than the Ray Phoenix versus Nick Jackson match. Even though it wasn't that short, but it was like probably for a good 10 to 15 minutes. Like, but yeah, that was like the show. I thought the international championship was going to be the shortest match, of the night. But this seems like this is the shortest match in tonight's episode and overall their episodes of Dynamite and overall in AEW. And it looks like he's going to get some vengeance on the Christian Cage or anybody or go just continue this winning streak, like facing glorified jobbers like poor Griff Garrison, and to work his way up to get the TNT chips or even upgrade to the AEW World Championship. But what do you think? Do you think Wardlow is AEW World Championship material and possibly could face his former partner MJF, or you think Wardlow can He's going to stay in the mid card and possibly win back his TNT championship, becoming a second ever three-time TNT championship, I believe. But third ever three-time TNT champion next to Darby and Cody. But anyway, y'all let me know in the comments down below either way. But anyway, this is where I showed a recap with Nick Wayne, with Nick Wayne turning on him and hitting him with the TNT championship. He's like, "What you did to me, my mom, and my father," and he hit him at the Darby Allin. I was like, "Did he really just do that? Like, he's really." And then he helped him retain his TNT championship. This is where Sting tried to fight, and this is where Christian tried to hit the concerto. This is where we saw a man getting out of his car, look dressed like the rated R superstar. That's because it was because once the theme music hits, like you think you know him, and then if it was a TNA intro of the theme music, and then that's when he started having the theme start play like dun, 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 and he speared the likes of Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, like to avenge for Darby Allin and Sting. But we're gonna hear him we're gonna hear from him about his reasonings and etc. in AEW. But for now, we're gonna move on to the next segment, which is the Acclaim taking on Kip Sabian and the Butcher and the Blade, like in some kind of a trios championship contenders match. This is where I'm gonna get to the point towards the end because there's not much really to talk about. Only just it all started in a brawl, and then started in a brawl. Like they fought him to the outside. This is where they started the match with Max Caster, I believe, and what's his name, Kip Sabian. They got into the technical fight match in the technical style grappling. This is where and also what's his name, Max Caster was outnumbered in a 2-on-1 disadvantage with Kip Sabian. This is where he finally tags in Anthony Bowens, started hitting double moves on the Butcher and Kip Sabian. They hit him with kicks and punch, and hit him with a back leg famouser drop. This is where he pins Kip Sabian for a 1 and a 2. As soon as after Aubrey Edwards counted the 2, this is where what's his name, the Butcher came back in the ring and saved his tag partner, his 1/3 tag partner, what's his name, Kip Sabian. This is where Billy Gunn came back in the ring. This is where he tried to Irish whip him into the ring after he kicks him right in the midsection. This is where he counters, but the Butcher botched the Irish whip in the process, and he had to redo the Irish whip. He tried to throw him back because he let go of his back head, and he threw him on the outside. It's where he's not fighting him. It's where Billy Gunn kicks him right in the midsection. This is where Irish whipped him right into Barry Barricade. This is where they had the Blade out, and this is where Max Caster and Anthony Bowens try to go for scissor me timbers, and this is where Billy Gunn joined them by grabbing the Butcher's right leg while Max Caster has the left leg. Excuse me, Trey. But anyway, this is where he's like, "Scissor me, daddy ass," and then this is where he hits the leg drop right onto the Blade. This is where Kip Sabian tried to go for a springboard crossbody, but he gets catching the super kick right into the midsection. This is where Max Caster and Anthony Bowens hit their magic killing arrow superplex maneuver, double team maneuver, which I believe it's called. Let's see right there. But this is where he hits the maneuver. This is where he pins Kip Sabian 1, 2, 3, and the Acclaim still remains an unbeatable trio since they've been the AEW Trios Tag Team Champions. And they should keep on doing this because they're entertaining every single week when you watch them on whether if they're on AEW Dynamite, AEW Rampage, or AEW Collision. These guys are absolutely nailing it and with success and entertaining success ever since they've been the most famous tag team in the All Elite promotion. Like with them, I think, and what helped them is being teaming with Billy Gunn, because with Anthony Bowen's saying his catchphrase, "The Acclaim has arrived," and "Scissor me, daddy ass," which he do so every single week, like at least like 2 to 3 times a week, of course. And what do you think about this reign as Trios Tag Team Champions with Billy Gunn and The Acclaim? Y'all let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that these are the guys that deserve the Tag Trios Championship? I think they do, because they're very entertaining, to the point these Trios titles are made for them into the Trios division. But this is where they start celebrating. And I think that they did the celebration scissoring maneuver. This is where it started doing the scissoring. This is where Max Caster even did a somewhat inappropriate gestures. I guess there's one guy that's into the ones that love scissor ring bump, but it looks like he also is into the salt of the earth too, which we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But anyways, this is where we have Toni Storm into her third episode of the Toni Storm portrait, the Toni Storm portrait of a star. That's what it is. Portrait, like a small A word, but anyway, this is where the guy that was interviewing him again in the third episode of it. That, you've been wrestling now for over 14 years. And then this is where Toni Storm throws her house shoe at him. He's like, enough about talking about the past. Like, we're talking about who cares about that? We're talking about now in the present. Like, I mean now. And he's like, I didn't think about it. And this is where Toni Storm went violent mode and continued to go violent. That you don't know how it is to be. You know anything about it. You don't know how to live his life. You don't have to be the spotlight of everybody trying to take on for you. Like for instance, you just move away on a pathetic passage and pray that you're not to be the same. And then you'll have it. And what I just look at on every match, every pay-per-view out there, this is the rules of the night to see them all, and then you take it away, and that's what you don't know, because you cannot know. You just don't know. And this is where the guy that was interviewing her saying, like, yeah, but you're not even old. And then this is where Toni Storm realized, like, oh, yes. Like, I'm timeless. Like, you may be timeless in the head, but that doesn't mean time doesn't mean that has unlimited amount of time. So you're still at the age of 27. So you're still young, or 28. Let me phrase that, 28. But yeah, that doesn't mean you're old. Like, you're probably not going to be old in the next 30, 40 years from now. So if I was you, I would not be continuing to act like a 60-year-old Swedish opera singer in denial about murdering her her victim. She's the suspect. I mean, the victim, my bad. Like, she's not like if she's in denial about killing her victim, I should say victim. But anyway, this is where Toni Storm said, I'm timeless. And then she would start shaking like, oh, yes, I am completely timeless. I'm like, okay. Like, even I bet God in heaven is even shaking his head too. Say, like, this child needs some direct mental help ASAP. And then this is where she started repeatedly doing that. And I was like, really? Like, that's all you have to say other than being in aggressively volatile mood, nearly killing the guy by just asking about her past in the 14 years of being in the world of professional wrestling. But what do you think about these? Think about these Toni Storm portrait of of the star segments, like every Dynamite and every Collision. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And do you think there should be more of it? Have her sell this, have this to sell and make this more entertaining into a weekly segment, like at least once or twice a week? Or do you think that it's way too much, even for her character is a Swedish a Swedish opera singer in a denial gimmick, like I would call, or whatever you want to call her, is her gimmick, like is some kind of a European girl that's in denial, that's pretending to be another European culture when she's something else completely in the European ethnicity list. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys know down in the comments below. This is where up next we got. This is where Bryan Danielson, and then this is where we had a promo video about Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr.'s match at Wrestle Dreams, which Bryan Danielson won by a knockout. He's like you just you didn't make me tap out. You only had me out on the ground doing nothing. Like I was one scoundrel move. That's what Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan just said. He's like, I'm also a little bit upset at the end of this match. You will find out the definitive and the best technical wrestler in the world. And he said, I felt your bones disintegrating into my hand. And when I started snapping them back, and then Bryan, and this when Bryan Danielson was like, he doesn't have the heart that I have, and he doesn't have the soul that I have. And he's like, to go out there and come here and compete. Which some tells me this crossover feud's not at the end yet, because it just started ever since a couple weeks before Wrestle Dreams when Bryan Danielson challenged him into the match. It looks like this is not probably going to end until New Japan probably have some kind of a crossover event with what's his name, inviting him over to his territory in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Zack Sabre Jr., like you said, he's gonna be in his home. Whether if it's in his home country in England, or is it in his home, or in his adopted home in the other country in the East, which is Japan. But anyways, what do you think about this feud? Like it possibly be in the New Japan's territory, like according to his message, like from recently a couple of days ago on a post he posted on social media. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Let's move on. In the promo package with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Adam Page this is where Hangman Adam Page tried to go for a buckshot lariat. This was where he hit him with something metal around his head and his shoulder and his arm. He's like, I don't know what the F that he hit me, like, but whatever it was whatever it did, it damaged my my total right side of my upper body, like from taking the blow, like of him hitting it and then winning dishonestly afterwards, like in an obvious cheating manner. Of course, this is where he's like, this is how I do it, like, which is, but obviously I don't do it that way. Like I don't need to be dishonest just to get my win. I don't know what it was, like whether if it's some kind of a metal chain or Prince Nana himself, like which that he could have used them as a weapon. Like even if he was nearby, he probably would have, like because all he cares about is winning the match and not really care about nobody, not his associates, not his enemies, not his friends. Just look at Keith Lee. Like that's what basically what Swerve Strickland's gimmick is. Like in AEW is the heel leader of the Mogul Embassy faction. But anyway, this is where Hangman Page like to me. This is what Hangman Page was like to me. Like he's like he thinks that's how you do. I think that's you don't have to earn it. You just take it. This is where he got this. Like I just don't know. This is a little hair rehab. And he's like, we're going back to the drawing board and then go on back where I was. And he's like, you think cheating and being dishonest and manipulating and wicked is gonna lead you to be in my position? Well, it's not. Like, and then you like that, which that makes you wrong. And then he was like, let's see right here. Like, yeah, the wrong way is not going to do it. Like, that's my warning. This is where they showed an announcement that the Bryan Danielson and the Swerve Strickland, the Washington State the home state boys, like, which they're no longer going to be in their home state of Washington State, like, because they're going to be in Independence, Missouri, taking on the Independence, Missouri, taking on Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland for the AEW TNT Championship to be number one contender to face Christian Cage for his title. And the Title Tuesday, which is their Title Tuesday edition, which I told y'all about that yesterday. They're going to be on Tuesday because I believe the World Series tournament is going to be on Wednesday. So there's no way they could have put it in no other spot on Wednesday. And they're going to do a one-off head-to-head ratings war with NXT, which I wonder what y'all think, who's going to win that ratings bid. Like, y'all let me know down in the comments below. But I'm going to be doing a review on this. This is the first time I did the Tuesday night war or any war between Dynamite and NXT, because from a couple years ago, I haven't done the war with them. Only just watched it like a normal fan. Like, I haven't done the wrestling reports and review onto matches like these. I mean, matches and shows like these, I should say. But yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be the first time doing it on Tuesday, doing back-to-back SNA podcast episodes. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Less than 6 days from now. But anyway, this is where we got Bullet Club Gold. Kind of promo. They're like, welcome to the Bang Bang Gang, baby. Like, it was like, it don't seem like you're in a bang gang, like, except for Rock Hard Juice Robinson. I gotta admit, like, he always do the bang gang on the special someone, but that's none of my business. I don't want to know about none of that. But I'll say, but for as far as you guns are concerned, like, not really. Like whenever a woman now that you try to hit on, they'll be saying, like, go flub yourself, ass boys, like, which they would not be saying flub. Something just tell me about that. But anyways, I'm not sure if I should have made that analogy. Let's move on. Like, this is where the Guns started cutting a promo about MJF, and same with Rock Hard Juice Robinson saying, like, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, like, get your ass out here. And he was calling him out. And he's like, you got some explaining to do. That's what he's with his country accent. But anyways, yeah, he got some explaining to do. He called MJF out. This is where it's like you and your mystery minions have attacked my boy Jay White, and I want to talk to you about that. This is where MJF that was in a very I'll say somewhat of a pissed off mood, because he was in a serious mode saying, cut my music right now, cut my music. And this is where he was like, do you think it was really me that was under the devil mask? And this is where MJF was like, let's see right here. He's like, in Stockton, California, the devil has arrived. And he was like, and we got, and this is when we start listening to the fans. I'm sorry, what did he just say? And then and the fans told him, We got some interesting trios we got some interesting trios here, like of throwing accusations about me attacking a boy Jay White, and then we got the Ass Boys, of course, both Colton and Austin. And everybody's like chanting like Ass Boys, Ass Boys. The Stockton fans start chanting Ass Boys, and he's like, and you, Juice Robinson, we got the best friend Juice Robinson, aka the talentless Tank, I believe that's what he said. And this is where the fans are chanting like talentless Taint, talentless Taint, talentless Taint. And he's like, Taint, look at me, I am rock hard. And he's like pointing to his little genitals, which I don't want to talk more about that. I'm not Tony Storm right here, so forget about that. And I was like, and this is where Juice Robinson, no, I got the rock hard Tank. I got the rock hard. I was like, yeah, we all know that's what. Hey, there's kind of a reason why you're called rock hard, because you rocking it hard when you're in the bedroom with Tony Storm. But never mind that. But anyway, this is where MJ was like, then this is where the fans start. This is what the fans start saying, Ass Boys, and then the other side say talentless Tank, and then they're gonna repeat it like saying Ass Boys, talentless Tank. I was like, this is kind of like a nod to a certain WWE wrestler that told a certain former United States champion a few weeks ago, and he said this side of the fans saying you are, and the other say a-ho, like which obviously was The Rock. This has to be a nod to The Rock saying the fans are going to say one half of this, and then they're going to finish the other, and the other half's going to say finish the first half statement and sentence of calling you this name. But this is what it's like, and this is when the fans are chanting like Ass Boys, talentless Tank, Ass Boys, talentless Tank, with the one side where MJF pointed that said they're gonna say Ass Boys, which they did, and then the other side was like talentless Tank, and they're gonna start doing this for like 20 times straight. And this is where MJF's like, well, music to my ears. He was like, this is very interesting stuff. And that was I may have did I did some horrible things in my life, except that after all, this is the fourth year anniversary of AEW Dynamite. After all, so I might as well go down the list. I thought it would maybe be good to list them off right here in Stockton, and then the fans are like, yeah, we want to hear a little history storytelling of AEW Dynamite for the last 4 years. The fans were very investedly interested in MJF telling the whole story about the horrible things he have done for the last 4 years into the Wednesday night show. Is where he was naming and I'm a narcissist. I want to hear it loud. I'm a little narcissist, so I want to hear y'all say it loud. I'm gonna tell the story in Stockton, right here live in Stockton. This is where fans are, yay! And then this is where MJF was telling the story like, for starters, I threw Chris Jericho on top of the steel cage that is near death, and he's like, I whipped Cody Rhodes with a 10 times on my bat. I mean my belt. He whipped to something happened to, and I gave several of children dodgeball injuries, and also most importantly, I nearly he's like. He's like, in my personal favorite, that happened recently, I nearly got us kicked off of television when I called Tony Khan an effing mark. I was like, did he really just brought that up? And yeah, he did say an effing, because he obviously don't want to say the F word, because he obviously was in a good mood of telling the story. So he's gonna forgive and forget that in the negative perspective, and talk about it in a positive, as you should, think the positives about your past. But anyways, this is where MJF said, And then he still calls him a mark, except he doesn't use the F word term or the F bomb, I should say, when he calls him a mark. He's like the mark Tony Khan, like behind his back. Unless Tony Khan's right in front of him, he started kissing his rear end and start respecting him. Like say, you were great. Anyways, this and he's like, yeah, I may be a scumbag, but I am their scumbag. I was like, here we go again. Like now to think about it, it's starting to get more. It's starting to get more of a catchy catchphrase for him saying, "I may be a scumbag, but I am their scumbag" to the fans. But I'll say this was the most interesting and entertaining thing. I was watching this when I was on my way home. When I was walking with my mom, watching this on my phone. When I was watching the segment, I was like, wow, like I never saw anything this entertaining in pro wrestling in a segment, in a promo segment of all things in the wrestling show. Like be this entertaining. And we need more of this, whether it be in AEW or WWE. And I would recommend this for leading this example, like for making entertaining promo segments, like from this alone with MJF telling the story about his time of being a horrible person for the last 4 years in Dynamite, and telling Juice Robinson and the Guns Ass Boys and Talentless Taint. But yeah, I was like, and then also denying any claims, which we will all believe that what obviously wasn't MJF, because he would have revealed himself if that was him. That has to be somebody else, that remains to be seen. But anyways, speaking of that, this is where MJF was like, you don't want to talk about. This is where he's like, if y'all don't have nothing else to say and talk about, like I'm just gonna hang around here with this lovely crowd in Stockton, and because they know how to take care of the business, unlike you three and your boy Tofu Jay White. But that's where the fans start chanting tofu, 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 like repeatedly. Which I'll say I cannot deny those claims, because he's like, so I got an idea. How about right here, right now, we have an old Stockton street fight, and this is where he didn't even care he's gonna take on these three all alone, because he started looking like a fresh hot meat baby face, like a John Cena. Like when John Cena said if he had to face the Bloodline's two minions, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, he could do it all by his damn self. And also MJF fought the Righteous all by his damn self, which I'll say this is a very interestingly different side of MJF that we've seen from the last 2 months of him teaming with Adam Cole, baby. Or I'll say even 3 months since July. But anyways, this is where he takes off his shirt, like in his Dynamite diamond ring, and his watch, and his scarf and shirt. And this is where fans are like, holy S, holy S, holy shib, holy shib, holy shib, which they weren't saying shib with a B rather than a T. But anyways, this is where I took off the shirt. This is where he runs them off, and then before he had a chance to have a standing tall ovation from the crowd in Stockton. This is where Jay White turned him around and hits him with the Blade Runner, like boom, boom. And this is where Jay White was holding on to his AEW championship. And this is where the Guns and Juice Robinson came back in the ring. This is where they hold MJF down with his arms, like if he was Samson, like into the pillars, like was locked in the pillars with the chains. Like when he started holding them onto this is where Jay White was like, "Oh, look at this piece of this brass gold. Like I gotta love to have this." It was like, whoa! And, yeah, guns up. And this is where it was like, yeah. This is where Juice Robinson started doing this with his pelvic area like this. I was like, really? Like, can you just save it at home with Tony Storm? And I can see why Tony Storm is like 50% the crazy, the insanity that she is, I should say. But anyways, that's where you're trying to hang on to the championship. But you know what? I'm gonna do what Shinsuke Nakamura did. I'm gonna hold on to this title for now, like he did on that segment when he attacked Seth freaking Rollins on Raw. Like I talked about on last Monday on Raw, the Raw review part 8 on the SNA podcast episode 56, I believe. Yeah, make sure y'all check that out. But anyways, this is where Jay White was like. And this is when the fans start chanting like, boo, tofu, tofu. And this is when Jay White started snickering and smirking. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to be world champion. Well, in his Australian accent. This is where Austin will say, this is our next AEW world champion. Guns out. Guns up. It is where his brother Colton's like, yeah, like, see you later, hater, to MJF. It's before they left. It's where Jay White's like, he's like, it does look like, doesn't it, Austin? Max, I don't know what kind of caliber, like, you're used to dealing with, like, I'm the cut the above, and then your cheap politics and games, like, don't work here around here. And he's like, unlike these brainless fans around here, we have the sense to know about your disgusting and evil maniacal ways and mentality in general, of course. And this is when what's his name said Juice Robinson was like, yeah, you keep telling him Switchblade. And he's like, yo, yeah. You think you got the best of me last week? You're like, when you have your goons and then you right in the middle of them with your devil mask like you wore last year. And what else he said? It was like, where you and then you what he said, like, he's like, and this is what one word that comes out of your slimy, scummy mouth, slithering, and they're saying, what do you? I might as well be a confession. He's like, that's what he said. Whatever he said, that must be a sign of a confession. Because I'm not buying what you're selling, and I'm not buying what you're selling, and neither to these your filthy pores. And then this is where he also stated, he's like, you're just a dirty, pathetic liar, and we know that MJF is a slimy, gutless coward. We need the truth, and we need an elite champion, someone that lives up to the name. And Maxwell Jacob Freeman, you are not him, what you claim to be. And I want to match with you for the AEW World Heavyweight. If you want. He was like, and if you want to prove me all wrong, then put it on the line, Maxwell. Put it on the line, Maxwell, with your AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It is where Maxwell Jacob Freeman was not like what he's saying. This is where he started shouting at him. He's like, you want a match with me? You want a match? Let's see. And you got it. I bring everything you got. Bring bring all your moves, bring all the guns, etc. Like, I'll be ready. And I will show you that I'm not the guy. And I will be will take back my AEW World Championship. And he was like, he's like, I'm just gonna take this AEW Championship for tonight. And then he's like, and if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Like, suck. No, not that. Guns up. And that's where he cut the promo. That's where he started holding on to the championship. That's where he's like, no. Tofu, you want me at Full Gear? Uh-huh. Well, I got 2 words for you. Like, you are on. Well, not R, but you're with a apostrophe R, E. Yeah. The different way they use the word you're. But they say, if you want me at Full Gear for the AEW World Championship, well, I got 2 words for you myself. You're on. And that's where he cuts the promo with him having the last say into this segment. And what do you think? And it's been confirmed that Jay White will take on Maxwell Jacob Freeman for the AEW World Championship. And what do you think about this match? And do you think that MJF is going to retain, or we're going to have a new AEW World Champion with Jay White remaining as undefeated single star? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And who do you think, and like I said, who do you think it's going to be? And do you think they're going to have anything to do with it? Possibly could help MJF retain the championship? Or do you think he's going to be the cost of MJF's championship? I want to hear that from what y'all to be decide who's the masked man and why did he attack Jay White and frame MJF to make him look like the guilty one? Well, we're probably gonna figure that out like in the next upcoming few weeks, probably at Full Gear. We're finally gonna have some answers. Unfortunately, we didn't have them at Wrestle Dreams, but that's gonna probably make up in a month from now. But yeah, let's move on to the next. But in the meantime, we're gonna continue doing this podcast. First, we got Renee Paquette went into a backstage interview with Orange Cassidy and Hook with at Wrestle Dream. So I was so close to being number 1 contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And this is where Orange Cassidy's like, yeah, and we would have been great champions if, Hook, he's still a great champion, is FTW champion because he have a championship. Unfortunately me, which I used to have a championship, which was the international championship, which he lost to John Moxley like a month ago at All Out. But anyway, this is where Hook was like, you should be a great champion again too. It should be definitely you instead of Mox against Phoenix, because if anybody deserves a rematch for that title, it's you, because you made that title very prestigious of every wrestler wanting it and defending it every single week on TV. And this is where Orange Cassidy was like, yeah, he was a national champion for like 3 weeks, and I was on for 11 months, like, you know. And that's when he not snatched, but I'll say just grab a chip out of Hook's small bag of Lay's and started crunching on him. And then he was like, yeah, like, but yeah, it's whatever. And this way, and then this is where Hook passed a chip for Renee Paquette. She was like, no, I'm good. And this is where Excalibur, was it Shivani or Taz? But either of one, I think it was Excalibur. She's like, he admitted that she's more of a ketchup chip girl. I was like, really? Like, are they referring to the Doritos ketchup chips? I was like, that sounds exactly like my brother and his girlfriend. But yeah, anyway, this is where we have a Jericho and Kenny Omega tag match against the Don Callis family, which is. And then this is where they took on the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita, and the young 20-something-year-old star of the Aussie Opens, Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, Kyle Fletcher, because Mark Davis is injured, so they're trying to give him something to do. Like, since Sammy Guevara wasn't there tonight, I believe so. But yeah, but well wishes to him and Mark Davis. And anyways, as we're gonna start the match. Talk about the match. As we'll start off with Jericho getting the advantage and the offense on the Konosuke Takeshita, hitting them with strikes, hitting them face first right in the Tina Turnbuckle, tagging Kenny Omega. This is where Omega hits a right hand right into the midsection and an elbow strike right onto Takeshita. Hits a knife edge chop so loud to the point that he could have made Gunther his next victim of what's that called? Envy, or envious, yeah, I should say, like in the envious, being the next victim. This is where he hits him face first right onto the top. On the top of the turnbuckle. This is where he elbow strike the back of the head of Konosuke Takeshita. This is where he grabbed him in the guillotine position. This is where he pushes himself back with the Konosuke Takeshita. He got tagged right into the back by Chris Jericho. He starts stomping right into the midsection of Konosuke. This is where he tried to go for a suplex maneuver. This is where Konosuke Takeshita counters it. This is where Jericho tried to do like and this is where Jericho was like. This is where Omega helped Jericho out. He axe handles the back of Konosuke Takeshita. This is where Mark Davis was like. Before that, he was like, "Come on, Takeshita, pull him." And then this is where Kenny Omega did a double suplex, helping out Jericho, doing a double suplex on the Konosuke Takeshita. This is where Jericho slides out of the ring. This is where Jericho's like, "You need to stay in your lane." This is where Kenny Omega's like, "No, I was doing my job, like helping out my tag partner, but I'm gonna stay out when I'm not legal." This is where Konosuke Takeshita got back up, try to hit a rake to the eyes of Jericho. This is where he Irish whip him on the other side of the ropes on the right side. This is where Jericho counters into the exact same rope. This is where he tried to close on him. This is where Konosuke Takeshita ducked once again. This is where, let's see. This is where he ducks again. This is where he hits a flying diving clothesline right off 6 feet in the air. This is where Konosuke Takeshita picks him up, goes for a brain buster right onto Jericho. This is where he tried to pin him, mocking Jericho by putting his foot on him, pinning for 1 and a 2. This is where he tags in Kyle Fletcher. This is where he hits a body slam right onto Jericho. This is where he pins the old choke for a 1 and a 2, and then he kicks out. And then we're going to talk more about this. Got Kyle Fletcher. That's where Kenny Omega got tagged in. This is where he hits him in the midsection. He twists him in the arm, hits Kyle Fletcher in the fireman's position, which is where this looks like he's trying to turn it to the one-winged angel. This is where Kyle Fletcher pushes him right face first right in the top right corner of Tina the Turnbuckle. This is where he tried to run towards Omega. This is where Omega elbows him right into the head. This is where Omega lifts him up right into the mid row. This is where Konosuke Takeshita hits a right strike right into his back, running from his twin Shinsuke Nakamura. This is where he hits a twist of Under Armour fireman's driver right off the top rope. This is where not top rope, right on the top of his. This is where he hits it, looking like he hit it. The driver looking like a Green Bay plunge, what Mr. Kennedy would do. This is where he flips right off, and then he hits a backstabber right off the middle rope onto Kyle Fletcher right on the middle rope into the top right corner of the Tina the Turnbuckle. Backstabber and him. This is where Omega was like, "Yeah, like it's time to finish him, like elite style." This is where Kenny Omega hits a half of Try to go for a Snapdragon half Nelson suplex majig. This is where he pushed him to the side because Konosuke Takeshita was trying to hit the most fieriest forearm in all professional wrestling. This is where he ducked, and then instead he tried to hit Konosuke Takeshita with the move that he tried to do with Kyle Fletcher, but Konosuke elbows him. This is where he moved out, he turns around, hits him with a striking forearm, and then that's when Kyle Fletcher stole his move by him hitting the half Nelson maneuver right onto him, like the Snapdragon half Nelson maneuver. This is where Jericho comes in. This is where he gets super kicked right in, a thrust super kick by Kyle Fletcher. This is where he also this is where Kyle Fletcher puts him in their corner, right into the opposite corner diagonal from Jericho was in Kenny Omega and Jericho's corner, in the top right corner, and then with Jericho, and then the top left corner, and the top right, bottom right corner with Kenny Omega. But this is where he boots him right into this is where Konosuke. This is where Kyle Fletcher hits a forearm right into Jericho's corner. Konosuke Takeshita hits a big boot, a luva kick right into Omega. This is where they did vice versa with Kyle Fletcher doing the forearm right into Omega, and then Takeshita boots Jericho. This is where they hit their respective moves. And Konosuke Takeshita hits the Elite's most devastating move in all sports entertainment, and it definitely looked like Elite's most devastating move in all sports entertainment because which was the Blue Thunder Bomb, and it looked very weak. Like it looked like he could have kicked out at 0.999, and then this is where he hits a Kenoku driver. That's what I missed Kenoku driver, Kyle Fletcher. And then, do you think those moves work? No, it did not. Like. It only got him like the 2 count, I believe. What? Which I believe Omega and Fletcher was the weaker men because Aubrey was winning in their corner, counted the 1 and 2 kicks out. This is where Kyle Fletcher tried to go for another Kenoku driver. This is where Kenny Omega started countering, started hitting him with an axe handle right onto Kyle Fletcher. This is where a double axe handle. This is where he tried to go for another thrust super kick, but this time the Omega. But he counters try to go for a dragon snap snapdragon Nelson suplex. This is where Omega was feeling the fire now. This is where he tried tagging Jericho, which he did. He tags in Jericho. This is where Jericho was ready to finish him off, but he started hitting chops, starting to try to provoke Gunther like every other AEW wrestler. And then this is where he started continuing to do so, started chopping. I was like, I hope Gunther's not watching this and he gets pissed off and he makes a appearance. After all, from this past Monday, he was in San Jose, I believe, and they're in Stockton, yeah, California. But yeah, this is where Jericho hits a right hand right into. I hope you don't get mad and start chopping him and say, I can do it more louder and devastating. But anyway, this is where Jericho clothesline and put on top rope into the bottom left corner of Tina the turnbuckle. This is where Jericho started hitting chops repeatedly. I was like, I hope Jericho knows what he's doing. And then if he's gonna keep chopping him like that much, he better be prepared for Gunther, because Gunther probably wouldn't give a damn that this is AEW rather than WWE. And then this is where Jericho had him right on the top rope. This is where he was like, it is when the fans are like, are you ready for me to beat this young son of a bitch to death? And they're like, yeah. The Stockton fans, this is where we start hitting the right hands, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right off the top rope, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this is where he hits a most perfectionate Hurricane Rana I've seen in recent time. I would say probably the third perfectionate top rope Hurricane Rana maneuver right on the top rope. This is where Jericho's like, let's go, baby. And this is where Konosuke Takeshita hits a flying clothesline from hell. This is where Kenny Omega came back in the ring and hits a thunderous a V-trigger. Yeah, this is where he came in the ring and hit a thunderous V-trigger right onto Konosuke. This is where Kyle Fletcher finally hit his thrust kick. This is where Kyle Fletcher. That's where Kenny Omega tried to hit a discus clothesline, but he gets hit with another super kick right into the chin or the jaw. This is where he tried to hit his brain. It is where he hits the most devastating brain buster I have ever heard from any professional wrestler, like dropping on their opponents, like bouncing their head like into the canvas. And this is where Kenny Omega went clock night, like, and I believe if Kyle Fletcher pinned him right in that spot, they would have won. Like unfortunately for Team Jericho and Omega. But anyways, here's where all four men were in the ring, comatose right through the canvas. This is where Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita rolled out of the ring, and it was Jericho and Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho and Kyle Fletcher was still in the ring. This is where they were slowly but surely getting back up. And I was like, that had me thinking like now Kyle Fletcher kind of reminded me of Sammy Guevara. Like the reason why they replaced him with it because he could possibly be his twin brother. But then again, like I don't think he's Australian. He's a Cuban and a different kind of European culture, but that's a story for another day when we're talking about ethnicities of pro wrestlers. But I'm not sure whatever video we'll do, but I'm going to try to work on a video like that. Make sure y'all stay tuned of being watching this video, watching these videos from the SNA podcast. But anyway, this is where Kyle Fletcher started hitting knife edge chops right onto Kyle Fletcher. This is where Jericho responded back to him with that. This is where Kyle Fletcher hits a right face chop right onto Jericho. This is where every time I was like, wow, like I'm surprised Gunther's not here tonight, even though he's probably getting ready to head over to the Indiana area. But anyway, this is where they throwing fists at each other with Kyle Fletcher's getting the boo chants from the fans, and then this is where Jericho getting the cheering chants from the fans, like with him like yay, boo, yay, boo, yay, boo, yay, boo. They start hitting forearms, elbows, punches, like etc. to each other. That's where they go their respective side of the ropes. They ran through them, and then they went past each other, and double clothesline each other right in the middle of the ring mat. And then this is where let's see. This is where both men on their knees. That's where he tried to grab onto Jericho's leg when he got back on the feet. He hits a step up into gear right on somebody. I can't break it. He was trying to tackle Kenny Omega, but this is where he finally tags in Omega. This is where Konosuke Takeshita got back onto the apron as soon as he got Kenny Omega tagged in. This is where he started elbowing the absolute heck out of what's his name, Kyle Fletcher. This is where Kyle Fletcher hits a forearm right back, and Omega hits a forearm back at him. This is where he started going back and forth with forearm wars, like saying like, I can't wait to scream out, then hit the striking forearm like if he was Dragon Ball. This is where he hits Kyle Fletcher hits a forearm right back at Omega. This is where Omega hits it back, where the fans start chanting yay, but not as loud as they did with Jericho. This is where it started boo. They're doing boo, and they start still doing the loud boos at Kyle Fletcher. This is where Kenny Omega hit the forearm, which the fans start saying yay, but not as loud, not louder, like like once again, this is where he started hitting back and forth, like, yay, boo, yay, boo, yay, boo. They started going back and forth like, yay, boo, yeah, boo, 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 to Kyle Fletcher when he started repeatedly hitting his elbow right into the face of Kenny Omega. This is where he's like, oh, and then hit a right hand. This is where Kenny Omega hits a knee strike on his right knee out of nowhere. This is where he had him up into a power bomb, and then he power bombs him, and then he flips him up into the V trigger, the most night V trigger I've ever seen in all of professional wrestling. Because once he hit it, it looked like it's game over for the Don Callis family at this point. And then now. And then this is where Aubrey was counted to 1, counted to 2, and then before he counted 3, he had the shoulder and the arm up at 2.999999999. I was like, I thought that was it right there at that point where Kenny Omega hit him with that V trigger, the most perfectionate V trigger in all of professional wrestling, which he's the one that came up with it, of course. But this is where Omega was like, what the hell can I do to put away this Don Callis boys, Don Callis boys for good? This is where he was getting more intense and more frustrated. He started doing this pose of the Omega of gods, I should say, describe. This is where I don't understand why I did that, like if I pull out a Glock. But anyway, this is where he did like this, like you are dead, like you are dead, man, metaphorically. This is where Konosuke Takeshita tried to go for a German suplex, which I believe Kenny Omega countered. He hit him face first right to the top rope, right in the top corner of the ring. This is where Kenny Omega hits a knee V trigger right to the back of Konosuke Takeshita, taking a page out of Takeshita's Japanese twin on WWE's playbook, like going after that back, I should say, going after that back, but not doing it in an excessive way though. But this is where he hits the one winged eight, or no, not the one winged eight, the snapdragon full Nelson suplex, which was a full arm Nelson suplex, which he successfully hit him head first. That's where Kyle Fletcher hits a swinging back-legged kick, like right into the face of Kenny Omega as soon as he ran right to the side of the rope. This is where Kyle Fletcher's like, ah! This is where he tried to go for a power slam. This is where Kenny Omega pushed him right into Jericho's corner. This is where Jericho came right in front of Kyle Fletcher as soon as Omega pushed him from behind. This is where he got hit face first with the code breaker, like boom, and then he fell back behind where Kenny Omega caught him with his head and hits the one-winged angel for the 1, 2, 3. And then as they thought, they ended the Don Callis family by defeating him in this great match on AEW Dynamite. But this is what Don Callis was like, he don't have a chance to screw me at all. Like this is bullshit. Like this is like he's gonna pay for this. Like, and this is what Taz like. I gotta hand it like in the perspective of Kyle Fletcher. Like he did give out a fight. Like, and I respect that for it. This is where Omega and Jericho celebrate. The first time we've seen them ever team in AEW. And then we finally get to see them join forces to take on the Don Callis. And they finally defeat the Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, which was supposed to be Sammy Guevara. This is where Don Callis is like, it ain't over yet. Like, I still have plenty of more family members where that came from. You just don't know. You're not the cleaner. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs came from behind and hit a double clothesline right onto both Omega and Jericho. And then this is where Taz was like, "What the hell was this? Like Hobbs?" And then this is where Excalibur was like, "Where did he just came from?" Like, and then this is where he started annihilating and brutalizing both the Ocho and the Cleaner. When he's after that, he started grabbing Jericho. He hit the double A spine buster right into Jericho. This is where he's looking in Omega's corner. This is where he's like, "You're next god of pro wrestling, or you're next Omega." This is where he throws him right into Barry Barricade, or now it's probably either Larry or Gary. But anyway, this is where he throws him right there. And yeah, I want to keep doing this every week of sending my deepest condolences in this sad but hilarious moment in the internet wrestling community for the passing of Barry Barricade, which I'm not sure if I should make it look serious, too serious, I should say. But anyways, back to the review. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs hits a striking and dangerous forearm right into Omega's face. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs throws him right into the other side of Barry Barricade, or over Barry Barricade, over those piles of chairs, like looking worse. He did worse damage than he ever did before, including like when he did that when he threw Simon Miller right into Barry Barricade at All In on that contract signing segment. But yeah, which I'm glad Simon's doing okay and recovering from that. But anyways, this is where Powerhouse Hobbs continue his beat down on Kenny Omega, starts stomping on him. Is where he starts saying, like, "What are you gonna do about it, punk? Like, what are you gonna do about Omega?" Like, and he hits another right strike right onto Omega. And then this is where it was like, this is an unfortunate, dangerous position for Omega. Came from Excalibur. Excalibur said that in commentary. He's like, "This is the most dangerous position for poor Kenny Omega." And this is where he started grabbing onto the railing of the barricade. He was like, started snapping it right off the barricade. And then this is where he laid it put on the ground. This is where he had Kenny Omega right in between head and arm, right in the railings poles, the little poles, like right trapped right in there. This is where he was getting ready to hit. He started putting it around his neck and throat, and this is where he started grabbing on his head and started trying to rake him in the eyes. This is where he felt a little pain of it, but didn't even phase too much of it. This is where Don Callis like, "Bravo, bravo," with his evil, maniacally wicked ass, like with him clapping away, like with his maniacal ass, like "I hope you rot in hell for this, like you carny piece of shit." Like at least in a character, his character is a manager, like not really in hell for real, because I really wouldn't wish death upon nobody. But for Don Callis' perspective in kayfabe, I would wish him to go to hell, like for this unforgivable beatdown that he's making Powerhouse Hobbs doing into this brawl. This was like, "You think you're all that?" This is where he started trying to Irish whip and throw him back in the ring. This is where Omega landed right into the ringside area. This is where he climbed back in the ringside area. This is where Konosuke Takeshita throws him back in the ring. This is where he started looking under the ring for a weapon to use. This is where he got a steel chair. He grabbed a steel chair. This is where he This is where Konosuke Takeshita was choking out the guy of pro wrestling, choking him all around the ropes. And this is where him and Don Callis tied him up with duct tape around his wrist on both sides of the ropes, on the top rope side, on the top part of the rope in the ring. Start duct taping him so he won't do nothing about. This is where Powerhouse Hobbs is getting ready to try to hit him with the steel chair. This is where Jericho tried to come in for the save, but Konosuke Takeshita slides down from the bottom and hits a sliding kick of Jericho off, which he kind of botched it at first, but Jericho managed to oversell and roll out of the ring. This is where Kenny Omega tried to fight back, started trying to kick back and before he gets brutally humiliated by the Don Callis family and the new member of Powerhouse Hobbs. This is where they start continuing to keep taping him with duct tape, so he cannot escape when he's getting hit with the steel chair. This is where Jericho's like, no, like don't do this to Jericho. And this is where Jericho turned into a sacrificial lamb because he got hit in the midsection right into the steel chair in the upper part, like what WWE wrestlers would do. This is where he hits him head first right with the steel chair, like and it looked like he just got shot. If he shield Kenny Omega from getting shot with a gun, like with him like getting shooting and him taking the bullet right in front of him. That's the way he sold this. Like if someone just shot him and left him in the pool of his own blood. But yeah, this is where they're getting ready to try to. But before Hobbs hit him with the chest, or hitting him with a right hand hooks right on the Omega's midsection with a poor and sad vulnerable Kenny just couldn't do nothing but just take the pain and getting beat up by the Powerhouse, man. This is where he started continuing. This is where punishing him, start punching him to death. This is where Don Callis is like, come on, keep on doing this. Keep on doing this. Like, teach this worthless boy a lesson of thinking that of a lesson that he will never soon to forget. That's the best way I can describe it. It is where the Powerhouse Hobbs was like, yeah, do you think you can mess with me? Try to do something. He shoved him right in the face. He's getting ready to hit him with the chair. Don Callis was like, no, like, you don't have to do that. He's like, give me the chair. Like, he's like, I want the chair. Like, give it to me. This is where Don Callis is like, no, let me, allow me. Like, this is where he's like, okay, like, here you go. And this is where Don Callis grabs the steel chair. And then this is where Kenny Omega was getting holed by both Powerhouse Hobbs on his right hand, and then he got Konosuke Takeshita on his left arm. This is where Don Callis was getting ready to hit him with the steel chair, which he hit, and he's getting ready to position, and he slams it right into his head, which that was the biggest. But this was very frightening and horrifying to watch with him getting hit straight with the chair, like into his head, taking a chair shot to the head. Something that we hardly see in professional wrestling nowadays, unless it's some kind of a extreme hardcore match. Like straight right in this will never seeing the dent into Kenny Omega's head. Which I wouldn't doubt that he got split open by taking a hit right to his voice. This is when the fans did not like this at all, and they were dogging out what's his name, Don Callis, telling him flub you Don, like flub you Don. I was like yeah, like which they didn't say flub, but I was like, I don't blame him for saying this. This was unexcusable and unacceptable, even for Don Callis, for him being the most hated man in professional wrestling. This was very unexcusable. But what do you think about the segment? This was probably like 10 minutes long with the brawl with Powerhouse Hobbs revealing himself as being a part of the Don Callis family. And what you thought about this? About Powerhouse Will Hobbs joining and becoming the latest edition of the Don Callis family? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And do you think Kenny Omega should definitely get some retribution on Don Callis and do exactly what he just did to him onto this spot? Y'all let me know down below, which I believe I'm probably going to. If anybody's going to comment to me, they're probably going to agree. Like, there's probably going to be at least, I would say, a dozen or more viewers would agree that this was unacceptable from Don Callis. And he should pay for his wrongdoings and his crimes for for basically whopping Kenny Omega right into the head with the steel chair. But yeah. But this is where we have a backstage interview with MJF being being checked out by a doctor with an interview with Renee Paquette. This is where the Acclaim was here, and the Acclaim was talking to each other, with Max Caster talking to Billy Gunn and Anthony Bone. This is where Renee Paquette was asking how was he feeling. This is where MJF was like, "I'm good. It'll be booked." And this will be a whole. This will be a whole better. This will be a better pill to. This will be a whole lot of better pill to swallow if Adam was here. That's all I have to say about what's going on right now. All right. I feel I would be a whole lot easier for the pill to swallow. It would be a whole lot easier pill to swallow if Adam was here. And this is where, before he can answer more of Renee's, before you have a chance to answer more of Renee Paquette's question, this is where what's his name, Max Caster came in and started rubbing and massaging the neck and the shoulders of MJF, starting to continue to stalk the salt of the earth. And this is where MJF was like, "What the heck? Like, this is not what I asked for to the doctor." And this is where he realized this was Max Caster. This is where Max Caster was like, "Oh yeah, right." Like, this is where MJF was like, "Hey, I did not tell you to do that, and stop keep stalking and harassing me. This is harassment. Like, this is a crime. I'm gonna see you to make sure you're okay. I don't need you." Like, just act like that. Like, no, it's nothing like that. Like, you better leave right now before I file a restraining order against you. And he's like, "I'm so sick of you, dude, right now." Like, and then you're leaving bad. And he's also said, like, you're leaving leaving these weird and bad letters into my bags and sending me these creepy, uncomfortable tweets. Like, what's the matter with you, man? Like, it's doing weird stuff. You're a stalker, man. I know, but exactly what you do. You think you better? It is. Yeah, I do you want a scissor, bro? And then this is where MJF's like, "No, I do not want to scissor you at all. Like, just leave. Yeah, just leave this room right now." He's like, "Okay, Mr. Maxwell, like, whatever you say. You're the king, man. You're the king." This is where MJF's like that nerve of the man. Like, he keeps stalking me. Like, I don't get, which it's been reported that he's continuing to do that, especially on social media, including Twitter. Like, with him giving me these creepy tweets about being way too friendly to him, like maybe more than just friendly, like, which is very weird. Like, what do you think about these? What do you think about this making it as a storyline with Max Caster being some kind of a stalking fanboy, if not more? Y'all let me know in the comments down below. But this is where MJF tried to call Adam Cole. He's like, "I'm gonna call Adam right now. Like, I got enough of this." This is where Adam was on voicemail, like, which he was like, "Oh, that's great. Like, well, why do I even bother? Like, why am I even here?" This way, he's like other than being with these fans, like, what am I even doing here? Like, and I feel bad for the Salt of the Earth, and I guess this is gonna be some kind of a payback, paying them back out of the blue. Who knows? Like, but we're gonna move on with Tony Storm taking on Sky Blue, which I'll say. But Tony Storm just manhandled Sky Blue like if she was just some kind of an enhancement jobber, a glorified enhancement job, because he started hitting her right into the teeth of the turnbuckle, tossing her like if she was some kind of a rag doll to practice her training of getting ready for a bigger match for a women's championship, because he started twisting her hair and started throwing her back to back, back first right into the top, looking like some kind of wannabe classy version of Harley Quinn. And sorry if I keep getting up, my foot just keep cramping every time I curl it up right while I'm laying down, not laying down, sitting down, doing this podcast. My apologies. But yeah, she started doing the pose like, I would never do such a thing. Like, still being like an opera Swedish singer in denial, and also looking like, I want to be fancy, looking like a wannabe fancy version of Harley Quinn, I should say. Psycho but fancy. And it is where she picks back up Sky Blue. Sky Blue shoves her right into, shove her right down to her backside. This is where she tosses her, gets some payback, slam her right into the corner. This is where Sky Blue hits a buckle drop kick, giving Toni Storm a taste of her medicine, what she was doing with Sky. This is where Blue gets back up. This is where try to go for a running elbow attack. This is where Toni Storm move out of the way. This is where he try to splash right onto her, but Sky Blue countered that. She moved right out of the way. This is where she hits a right forearm right to the face of Toni Storm. This is where Toni Storm try to hit a right chop right into the corner. This is where Toni Storm runs right on the top part of the ropes, right to the bottom part of the rope, bottom side of the area, I should say, topper part, and then she runs right back and hits a hip attack right into a bum and hip attack right into Sky Blue's face. Sorry about that. Just cramps, just annoying me right now. But he hit a hip attack right into her face, making her fly and land and hit the hard concrete ground. Like she was saying, like Toni Storm will be back on after these very important responses. I was like, did she just literally broke the fourth wall? Now there's gonna be a commercial coming on? Like really? Like you would never heard. I've never heard that from a wrestler that would say, "We'll be right back with these very important messages." I was like, wow, like I would never heard of such a perfect, like a psychotic but perfect introduction of the commercials. But anyways, this is where we get back on the commercials. This is where they got back in the ring. This is where Sky Blue came back, hitting her with a Hurricane Rana. This is where Sky Blue hits a Shining Wizard knee strike right onto the right side of the ropes. The left side of the ropes. She snap mirrors her. She hits her with a super kick, but she grabs her leg. She swings her around. She hits the sliding glass window kick right into Toni Storm's head. This is where I'll say she wasn't much like a glorified jobber, but she was manhandling her like one. But this is where Sky Blue tried to go for another Shining Wizard knee strike, but she got flipped over right into the outside. But she hits a sliding kick right into Toni's head. Probably knock some sense into her, but good luck with that to the Sky Blue. This is where she hit the crossbody right onto Toni. This is where she pins her for a 1 and a 2, but she kicks out of that. This is where Sky Blue was getting annoyed and frustrated. This is where she tried to go for a double Nelson suplex, but this is where Toni Storm counters and hits with a sit-out spine buster to pin her for a 1 and a 2, but Sky Blue kicks out at a 2.999. Here's where she started arguing with the referee, but soon after, this is where Sky Blue grabs her, hits her with the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. This is where she only got a 2 count. She kicks out right after that. She hits a super kick right after. This is where she goes for a pin, but when the referee counts the 1, 2, and as soon as she tries to go for 3, this is where Toni Storm kicks out at 2.999. This is where everybody scream with bloody murder. This is where, including what's her name, Sky Blue. She was like, no. This is where Sky Blue tried to pick her up. This is where Toni Storm started being inappropriate because she started grabbing on to Sky Blue's bums. Like, she was like, ew, like, get off of me. Like, I'm not like that. Like, she's starting to show that BI side of her, like, which she revealed back when she made her AEW debut a year ago. But that's none of my business. I'm not the judge. But anyways, this is where Sky Blue tried to go for a super kick. This is where she hit the German suplex right onto the Sky Blue. This is where Toni Storm was getting ready to hit the sweet cheek music. She was trying to get the fans off their feet. The hit her signature move. She was up front camera, please. She finally hits the sweet cheek music right into what's her name, to Sky Blue. This is where Toni Storm hits the Storm Zero right on the Sky Blue. She pins her for the 1, 2, 3, and then pins her for the 1, 2, 3, and she got the win. I was like, what's next for this new side of Toni Storm from the last month of her acting like a Swedish a Swedish opera singer in denial of denying everybody's claims and investigations, like if she murdered somebody, like the way she's acting like. But anyways, this is where she's been like, oh yeah, that's right, me darlings. Like, I told you that I am gonna win, and you, my good sir, and you, my good gal, to the referee in Sky Blue, and she started doing this like if she had, like she's about to do an encore, and she was like getting ready to bow, like if she just performed an opera song, like in Sweden, like, or something like that. But what do you think? What's next for Toni Storm? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Let's move on to the next. And this is where we have a hype video from Samoa Joe on You Got to Give Respect on MJF while drinking his drink and having a little, I believe, a cigar, and sending the message to everybody in AEW that there's going to be a totally different, different side of him, and he's going to be more bigger and stronger and dangerous than he was before, like much before. And what exactly what Samoa Joe described in this package video? Y'all let me know in the comments down below. But this is where we have a backstage interview with the director/manager of Ring of Honor, the new director/manager of Ring of Honor, none other than Stokely Hathaway himself, which I would love to call him the Ghetto Gopher. Because it was the last time when he was on AEW television that he was in that deletion match with the Firm, taking on the Hardy Boys and Hook and Brother Zay, Isaiah Cassidy, when he snuck into Matt Hardy's home theaters, taking his cheap ass snacks and trying to watch Coming to America, but he got his butt whooped by his wife Rebby Hardy and his kids, all his kids, Matt Hardy's kids, like. And making sure that he'd never sneak in the home theater. And I was thinking, like, I hope when I get a home theater, we won't have any ghetto gophers just like Stokely Hathaway. But this is where he let everybody know that, and including Eddie Kingston, that he's going to do a multi-man number one contenders match to see who's going to be next for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And he's like, I'm not going to do this because I'm rude. And he's like, this Friday at Rampage, Eddie, like that you are going to be, there's going to be a multi-man, it's going to be a multi-man four-way match for the winner will be declared the number one contender for Eddie Kingston's Ring of Honor World Championship in his next title defense. And he's like, guess what, Eddie? You'll be there live and commentary to see who's next in line. You need a champion that's going to be top four. Not going to. He's like, we need a champion that is what he said. He said, we need a champion that smells like Tom Ford, not like Burger King and Newport. I was like, why are you fat shaming poor Eddie Kingston, even though he's rude, but nobody deserves to be fat shamed, even the Mad King himself. Like, you're no better than fat shaming bully in high school, like shaming a fat teenager that has weight issues. But anyways, and plus he also referred a city in California that a friend of mine is in, that I know from Telegram. So shout out to him, which I can't name drop him because he's kind of famous. But anyways. But I want to give him a quick shout out to that, and I'll say, and then my sister made a joke when I told her that he said Newport, and he's like, he probably thinks that he's friends with him. I was like, yeah, I gotta agree because he's probably wishing that he was related to Super Ninja also, so he could be friends with this particular guy. But yeah, what y'all think about Stokely Hathaway's AEW on-screen return? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Do you think that he should stay around on AEW, or should stick with being in a managing directing role in Ring of Honor, the other company that Tony Khan owns? I'm gonna let y'all to be the judge of that. But yeah, this is very hilariously entertaining that Stokely Hathaway made his self known for his in his 5 months of absence, like back in May, like when he was in that deletion match, like when he got beaten by the Hardy Boys and Hook and Brothers Day, Isaiah Cassidy. Make sure y'all check that out. An AEW Rampage episode back in May. I forget the specific date. I think it was the first Friday in May. Make sure y'all, just check it out. Like either way, like down into the AEW, that particular AEW episode. Check it down in the calendar list. But yeah, that's where we move on to the Adam Copeland. But they also announced that FTR will defend their AEW Tag Team Championships against the Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Or no, let me rephrase that. It was, yeah. Because they got a huge victory. They earned themselves a victory. We got Kiera Hogan taking on Tony Storm. We got Title Tuesday with Jon Moxley taking on Rey Fenix in a rematch for the International Championship. And who you think is the rightful owner of the AEW International Championship, and who's going to win and walk out of Cable Dahmer Arena as the AEW International Champion? I'm going to let y'all to be the judge and decide that down in the comments down below. But anyways, and he called it in the next Tuesday. We also have Hikaru Shida taking on Saraya in a rubber women's world championship match in their trilogy, in their feud. This is where we have. This is the next week. Powerhouse Hobbs will take on Chris Jericho. The take revenge on for himself and to Kenny Omega as well. And we got the debut match of Adam Copeland, the former Edge, taking on Luchasaurus. And then speaking of Adam Copeland, this is where we finally have the introduction of the rated R superstar, but not Edge no more, Adam Copeland. It's where Tony Schiavone introduced, and he thanked him for being here, and he's like, "You're a true legend. What's the biggest news in pro wrestling? Which is the biggest wrestling news ever since this past Sunday at Wrestle Dreams?" And it's It is very rapid for the rated R superstar to be here. It is when fans are cheering like, "Yes!" Start screaming for joy. And then I believe someone was doing the dance of joy. But anyways, this is where he's like, he's like, "This is the ring's all yours, Adam." This is where it's like, Tony Schiavone, the man I grew up. Your voice was the soundtrack of my childhood in professional wrestling. Like, it is a pretty big deal for me for standing in the ring with you right now, and everybody start clapping with honor because this is a huge honor for him to be in the ring with a guy, one of his favorite commentators in all of professional wrestling, and into his soundtrack playlist. This is where he's like, but respectfully, I'm gonna ask you to get out of the ring. He's like, it is, but I love you, Tony. But he was like, hit the bricks, Tony. Like, this is my ring now. Like, I'm sorry to say this. I love you, though. And then this is where he left the ring. This is where fans start chanting Adam, Adam. And this is where or Adam Copeland, I should say, said, "Yeah, I love the sound of that. Yeah, that's something that I wanted to hear for a very long time." He's like, but I never heard that. He's like, I never heard that chant before on me. Like, it sounds very fun right now. Like, to be honest, like, and he's like, yeah. And that's what fans are cheering, like, yay! Like, but seriously, okay, let's get back to let's go back again. In 2011, like, I've been told by a doctor that I would never do this ever again. And this is when fans were booing, like, boo. Like, boo, like that fans were probably thinking like BS, bullshit. It is like, and this is 2023, 12 years, a dozen years later, that I'm in the AEW ring. And everybody cheering like, yay! Because there's been rumors report that ever since when Edge was recovering and he was up into the edge, into the edge of being cleared by a doctor, like that he's gonna be able to wrestle in the ring again. And it's been noted that he's been contacted by Tony Khan that he wants him in the show, but he kind of turned him down just to have a final run with WWE. Atreyu, no, not in front of camera. Atreyu, be careful doing that. But anyways, like, you can't be acting all volatile. But anyway, this is where and this is when fans start chanting AEW right after he said that. This is where Adam Copeland was like, I give you a few reasons why I came here. The one major one, but I'm going to get to that at the last. But first reason being, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure the AEW Heavyweight Championship would look good on my waist, wouldn't it? Which it looks very similar to a big gold world championship, even though it's not really the championship like in WWE, but it's very similar to that championship. Or like, it also looks like it's like a hybrid of that championship with the IWGP World Championship back 15 years ago, like when the likes of Brock Lesnar and who else? Kurt Angle was the championship at the time when they were in New Japan. But anyways, Edge was like, and when fans were cheering, like, yeah. And it is like, in 2, there's a whole roster, and it's full of wrestling names I can have dream matches with. Like, for Adam, plenty of them will be enough to go around. Like, for Adam Copeland right now, like, I can name it. Like, but for third person, I've never done that before. Like, I don't think I'll do that again, though. This is the fans are chanting like Adam, 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 Adam. Now, but we're coming to check out Adam Copeland, first ever matches, right? Like Adam Copeland against Jon Moxley, something that he never did in WWE, which I started saying when he said Adam Copeland versus Kenny Omega. Like, that would be a big dream match in All Elite Wrestling, like something that's outside of WWE, of course. And this is what fans are like, yes, we're gonna see the two Canadians gonna face each other. Adam Copeland against me. I was like, okay, that's another guy that we never. That's another guy from WWE that's been a shame that we never seen this dream match, because as soon as he got released, this is where Edge at the time came back to WWE. Adam Copeland against Miro. I was like, yeah, like that's another guy. If we have never seen him facing WWE, which is a shame, but it's a fortunate game from AEW. And he's like, Adam Copeland against Powerhouse Hobbs. That's what it was. Adam Copeland, Jay White. Like, that's a dream match for the ages. Like, even he's also his boy Juice Robinson, a straight bullet Juice Robinson. Like, all those names. Like, and thanks to you guys, all you making that happen for me to have this big dream matches and for me to be here in the first place. And I want to thank y'all for that and come to humbling. And he's like, and I already said this before, and I say it again when I say this, like that. Say like the main reason why I decided to come here in AEW, is when I had my last match in the other company, which I'm not sure if he referred to that point, but he said I sit down and talk to my sit down and talk to my family, my wife, and then my kids, Lyric and Ruby, like saying, like, should I retire or should I still keep going? And this is when both of my daughters said, go still wrestle and wrestle with your Uncle Jay, which is he's like, which Uncle Jay is none other than obviously like he's like what you fans call Christian Cage. And he's like, Christian, I want you out here right now. When he called him out, this is where he slowly but surely came out. This is where he's like, and this is where where Christian Cage sort of welcomed him to AEW. Let's see right here. Let's see. Which has been noted that he in a press conference post AEW Wrestle Dreams press conference that he said this, that he thought he might retire or should he join AEW. But he was like, yeah, but go. He's like, come on, Jay, come on. Which I believe that's his real name, Christian Cage's real name. I need to search for it. Or unless you want to tell you guys want to tell me, viewers in the comments below. But I'm not sure if most of you know his name. Only probably very few. But yeah, then again, I'm gonna search for my name, for his name as soon as I get done with this video. But make sure. But yeah, this is where Christian Cage was like. This is where Christian Cage went back and forth with them, saying like at first pushing them away, saying like I don't need it was great that it's great to see you and all, but I already have my friends here, and those boys are Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne. And this is where Edge was like, yeah, but they could drop you down of a hat, like if you believe he'll drop you down drop you down of a hat, like if you put all your trust in them, like into you in your reign as TNT champion. And I'm trying to warn you, like they will do that, and then you will have no choice but to find someone like me to back you up in. Like, and he's like, thanks, but no thing. This is what he talked about. I was like, I don't need your help, and I will never need you and your help, and I don't think that they'll ever do that because they are doing successful with my mentorship. And then Edge was like, here's where Edge was like, let him know that he's gonna beat Luchasaurus. He's gonna show you why he came down here and down to the AEW, and he's gonna show. And he's gonna show that he's gonna. I would say that he's gonna show exactly what he means, basically. And what do you think? Like, do you think that Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus could turn on Christian Cage, and this could be a future face turn for Christian in the future, or do you think you're gonna stay around and the only person that's probably gonna turn face into this situation is probably going to be Luchasaurus, with him being the kind of like the butler into the faction of Christian Cage. Or what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. This is where they hugged and embraced, like yeah, like. And this is where Christian Cage said in a stern, full cold and sarcastic response, saying good luck. And this is where he walked out, and then this is where Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus came in. He raised the championship. Edge was looking very seriously angry, like oh, you'll see, Christian, like what I mean, and you'll probably see it less than 6 days from now. And that's the end of AEW Dynamite. It was very entertaining, not the greatest, but still the most entertaining to watch. And make sure, for those who haven't watched it yet, y'all should watch it yourself and see what I mean. And yeah, and that's the end of the review. And I will give it, I'll say 3.5 stars out of 5. I'm not trying to do it for 3 straight ones in a row, but I do it when something's like a very decently entertaining show. But if it's like like a 4 out of 5 great show, I would give it 4 out of 5. That's what I do. Or even a perfectly great show to watch, I'll give it a perfect 5 stars. But how are y'all rated tonight? Like whether if it's stars or 9 out of 10 or whatever out of 10, or even or a good, bad, downright ugly, ups, downs, or whatever, how you would rate it. Like, y'all put that down in the comments below. Hope y'all like this video, and if you did, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up, and subscribe and click the bell notifications so you can be notified and be the first one to be notified. So when I upload my upcoming videos, that you guys will be the first ones to know about my upcoming SNA podcast videos. And then please watch some more of my videos if you haven't already, or keep watching just for your entertainment and to talking about the world of professional wrestling, at least for now, until I start growing this channel even more and talking about more about the world of entertainment, like whether if it's movies or like whether if it's like comedy, action pack, horror, suspenseful, or superheroes, or adventurous cartoons, or comic series, whatever that's on the topic. Like, we're gonna talk about it. Whether if it's on wrestling, I'm not wrestling. Like, what if it's on the news? We're doing news videos, reviews, like I'm doing with wrestling right now. But I'm gonna work on doing that in the near future. But yeah, I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin. This was the 58th episode of the SNA podcast, the AEW Dynamite review part 8, the double eights. Like, make sure y'all comment that down in the comments below, and I'll give you a shout out if you put the hashtag double eights. And then, but tomorrow I'm gonna do episode 59 of the SNA podcast. Will be episode 12, I believe. Make sure you click to watch. And I've been here, like, your host, Super Ninja Austin. I hope y'all had a great time watching this video, and I hope y'all have a great night. And until we see you guys and each other again, or whatever we want to say to each other again. Keep on YouTube and stay tuned. Like, Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, out.